Yeah, my relationship with her is done. My family is so negative. They could not be more unsupportive, and I actually don't even talk to anyone in my family since the show.
It's official. Shekinah has sunk deeper and deeper into the cult of Sarper. She follows his every word as if he's some kind of all-knowing, all-powerful leader. He's isolated her from her family, he dictates how she dresses, and he even tells her what she can or can't eat.
We don't talk on the phone, but he does send me voice messages. You know, like, for example, he sent me some this morning and they just told me, like, you know, how to behave today, how to look, you know, what to eat.
I'm sure I'm not alone when I say, what the actual How has this whole season, all of her experiences in Turkey, from the weigh-ins to the lollipop incident, the whole bitch slut saga to the child fiasco, how has this not all been a wake-up call for Shekinah? Well, unfortunately, it's as if she's been brainwashed. Now, before we dive into all of this, let's just start at the beginning. So, the last time we saw these two, miraculously, it was actually Shekinah who was the one in control. She was beginning to come to terms with the fact that Sarper had been manipulating her. She chose to walk away from the relationship. Only when Sarper arrived at her hotel, flashed a few hand signals and gave her a bunch of flowers, she forgave him for everything. And sadly, even as Shekinah watches it all back, she still can't see just how toxic, just how serious Sarper's actions really were.
How do you feel watching that again?
I see how it looks. Yeah. You know, it doesn't look great. It looks like he is kind of an ass.
No, Shekinah. Actually, he's worse than that. His behaviour towards Shekinah this entire season has been very difficult to watch. Not just for her loved ones, her friends and family, but also for the cast members. Everyone's shocked at what they've seen, and no one can quite believe why Shekinah has just let Sarper get away with it.
That lollipop would have been up his ass. I'm not even playing.
Yeah, I think Danielle's sentiments here echo most of our thoughts. And when Sean asks Sarper whether or not the infamous daily weigh-ins are still part of his and Shekinah's daily routine, it's immediately obvious that Sarper hasn't realised the error of his ways. In fact, quite the opposite. It's almost as if he's proud of how he's moulded Shekinah into his perfect disciple.
Sarper, are you still weighing Shekinah?
No, Nettie. Right now she's in a good form. I love her form right now. I'm a control freak.
Control freak? That's like calling a tiger a kitten or a shark a fish. It's not really accurate, is it? But honestly, the delusion runs deep between Sarper and Shekinah. Sadly, all that power, all that fire that Shekinah had towards the end of the season, telling Sarper that he was an arsehole, telling him that he needed to treat her better, well, that attitude has completely disappeared. She's now a shadow of that version of herself. She wears Sarper's dominance over her as some kind of badge of honour. It's really difficult to watch her be so proud of the fact that she's being manipulated and controlled.
He's excited to have somebody that is submissive.
Yeah.
Is that really the case? Is she willingly being submissive? Because in the last few episodes, it did seem like she was finding her backbone. What's now changed? Has Sarper worn her down? Well, whatever the truth, even from afar, even from overseas, Sarper is still controlling Shekinah's day. He dictates her breakfast, her wardrobe, and just about everything in between. And Shekinah's nonchalance, her actual joy as she admits how controlling Sarper is honestly pretty worrying.
We don't talk on the phone, but he does send me voice messages. You know, like, for example, he sent me some this morning and they just told me, like, you know, how to behave today, how to look, you know, what to eat.
It's like Sarper doesn't even see her as a human being. He treats her like an object, and she just lets him. Bit by bit, she's losing autonomy over her own life. Like, Shekinah can't even decide her own lipstick shade for the tell-all. She can't decide how she wants to do her own makeup. Sarper gets the final say over whether or not she can eat fries with her lunch. It's crazy the level of power she lets him have over her.
Guys,
Hello aşkım. today. Don't use a dark lipstick and don't contour. It shows your lips bigger. Sit straight.
Now, he might try to soften his control with a "hello, darling," a little endearment before he then starts commanding her. But it's really starting to seem like Shekinah has Stockholm Syndrome. It's like she's been manipulated so much that she's confusing control with love and care. She's fallen in love with her captor. In fact, she even seems to think it's funny that all the people surrounding her at the tell-all are visibly worried for her. Like she's literally laughing after playing Sarper's very overbearing voice message. She even goes as far as to joke with Sarper about how his behaviour has been exposed. It's really sad to see her be so openly controlled, yet she's laughing about it. But as the voice note continues, so too do Sarper's demands.
You're being exposed, babe.
Aşkım, don't eat too much carbs for the lunch. Okay? And if they give you any options, show it to me. Send it to me. I will choose for you.
As the camera pans to all of the shocked faces around the room, Shekinah, as usual, jumps to Sarper's defence. This has become second nature to her now. But the problem is, her excuses have become more delusional than ever. Now, in the past, we saw Shekinah excuse Sarper's behaviour by saying things like, he's having an off day. But now, worryingly, she's really buying into his control tactics. She's agreeing with everything he says or does. It begs the question, can she even fathom that this behaviour isn't normal?
This is good advice. It's not anything unreasonable.
You don't view any of that as toxic, Shekinah, at all?
But rather than answer the question, Shekinah just starts talking circles around everyone. She avoids giving an answer, and instead, she begins posing more questions. She's deflecting, and honestly, she sounds like Sarper. But luckily, Kenny points out the elephant in the room here.
Did he sound mean? Did
She's
he
saying because
sound
the way
controlling?
he sounds, she says
He's
it's
so
nice. So it almost
sweet.
feels like manipulation.
Now, Kenny goes on to ask more questions of Shekinah, but at this point, having any kind of conversation with her about the negative side of her relationship is like talking to a brick wall. She's not taking it in, and it begs the question, is this because Sarper warned her to behave today? Has Sarper briefed her on how to respond to criticism against him? Because if so, there's a lot of very, very serious accusations.
Doesn't it seem like a lot of pressure to be perfect?
He's not telling me to be perfect.
I think he is.
I don't think he is.
I think he is.
It seems like he's grooming you.
Yeah, what a way to address the elephant in the room. But it's hard to disagree, isn't it? Look, the truth is, whether it's her weight, her appearance, her gym routine, the food she eats, the clothes she wears, how she behaves, Sarper's controlling every little aspect of her life. And now that Shekinah's also isolated from her family, well, it's really starting to resemble a cult. Just listen to the language Shekinah uses when she refers to Sarper.
I look at him as like my leader, and he's leading us.
I know that she likes to be controlled. I mean, it's her character and mine is controlling.
Your leader? Leading you to what exactly, Shekinah? A miserable existence with constant surveillance over every aspect of your life? Now, when Sean reveals that Shekinah's sister, Shariah, refuses to appear on the show, for the first time in this tell-all, Shekinah is visibly upset. But before she even watches the video message that her sister has sent in, before she hears what Shariah has to say, she's already on the defensive. She's already dismissed what her sister has to say.
He has no respect for you. He has no respect for women. That's not the kind of person that you want to have in your life. You want to bring,
you can shut this off
around
now.
Sophie.
This is really sad to watch. I mean, Shariah just wants what's best for her sister. This is a lady that flew thousands of miles to Turkey just for the weekend to check in on Shekinah, to make sure she was okay. That's a truly loving sister. That's what real love is. But it's heartbreaking to see how quickly Shekinah dismisses her. Now, despite Shekinah's request to stop playing the message, it does continue, and Shariah now turns her attention to Sarper.
I feel like anything that I could say to you, you're not going to be able to process it because you haven't developed mentally yet. So
What a
I feel
bitch.
like
Clearly, whether she chooses to admit it or not, Shekinah does care what her sister thinks. I mean, that's why she's getting so riled up about Shariah's disapproval. And for the first time on this tell-all, we see Shekinah's calm and collected demeanour finally crack. Despite the act that she's putting on, despite trying to pretend that she doesn't care, it's very obvious that Shekinah still seeks her sister's approval. The fact that they're no longer on speaking terms is very painful for her.
Yeah, my relationship with her is done. My family is so negative. They could not be more unsupportive, and I actually don't even talk to anyone in my family since the show.
Isn't that just so sad? Now more than ever, Shekinah really needs her family. But this is what the worst relationships, dare I say it, abusive relationships can do. They make you an island. They cut you off from anyone that can help you see sense. And unfortunately, it seems like Shekinah might be too far gone at this point. Sarper's control runs very, very deep here, and as Kenny points out, it's a really bad sign that this relationship has led to Shekinah cutting out the people she cares most about.
It does suck that my family is now, basically not in my life.
Cutting off family is a big deal.
I really want to know what's going on in Shekinah's mind right now. Is any of this actually sinking in? Because let's not forget, it wasn't that long ago that Shekinah was desperate to get Shariah's approval. She was pleading with her to give Sarper another chance. She really wanted Shariah's seal of approval. Yet now, she's trying to pretend like she doesn't need any approval from anyone in her family. Sorry, Shekinah, but I'm not convinced you can just turn off your feelings like that.
She is happy. She is happy. Forget everything. She is happy. She is happy.
It's not okay that she's just happy with you, though. Everybody needs a support system.
Yes, you can repeat it as much as you want, Sarper. And yes, Shekinah can sit there with a fake smile plastered across her face like a good little follower. But I'm really sorry, but no one can convince me that this is a happy, healthy relationship. You're not fooling anyone.